Let's see. Oh, we got. Well, we got to do some trading. Dion, she's mine. Hey, Dion. And Jordan, I do too. We will. Hey, how about them Cowboys?
It's official. The Cleveland Browns are sitting on a nuclear-level scandal that's about to blow the NFL wide open. What started as whispers about Shedeur Sanders being buried on the depth chart has now exploded into something unprecedented in professional sports. We're talking about multiple trade offers, behind-the-scenes collusion, and a franchise owner who's allegedly using a generational talent as nothing more than a marketing pawn, while his career withers away. This isn't just about football anymore, people. We're talking about deliberate sabotage of a young man's future. Sources close to the situation are calling it the most calculated waste of talent they've ever witnessed. And the ripple effects, they're already shaking the foundation of how the NFL operates. Nobody knew what to make of it when Shedeur Sanders fell to the 5th round. A quarterback who dominated at every level suddenly dropping like a stone while lesser talents got picked ahead of him. At the time, people called it a steal for Cleveland. Now insiders are revealing it was something much darker, a coordinated effort to keep generational talent away from teams that would actually use it. The silence from NFL front offices has been deafening. But behind closed doors, the truth is finally coming out. And when you hear what's really been happening, your jaws will be on the floor. Let's rewind a bit. The setup that fooled everyone. Back when the draft happened, everyone thought Cleveland had pulled off the heist of the century. Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback who had rewritten record books and carried his team through impossible situations, somehow sliding all the way to the 5th round. The narrative was simple. Other teams overthought it, Cleveland got lucky. But sources familiar with the draft process are now painting a completely different picture. What looked like a stroke of genius was actually the result of something much more sinister. Industry-wide collusion designed to manipulate where elite talent would land. Multiple team executives allegedly participated in keeping Shedeur off early draft boards. The goal wasn't to hurt the player, it was to control where he ended up. Cleveland was specifically chosen because insiders knew they wouldn't develop him properly. The entire operation was designed to waste his prime years while other quarterbacks got opportunities. Word on the street is that this wasn't just about one player. This was about controlling the narrative around young black quarterbacks who refuse to play by the old rules. Shedeur Sanders represents everything the NFL establishment fears: talent, confidence, and independence, all wrapped up in one package. People familiar with the situation say the draft fall was orchestrated from the top. Phone calls were made, agreements were reached, and a young man's future was deliberately sabotaged before he ever took a professional snap. But here's where the story gets even more devastating. The same teams that participated in keeping Shedeur out of the early rounds, they're now the ones desperately trying to trade for him. Because the collusion had one major flaw. There was never any agreement about what happened after the draft. But here's where it gets even darker. The trade offers nobody talks about. Then came the nuclear moment that changed everything. In the last 3 months alone, the Cleveland Browns have received multiple legitimate trade offers for Shedeur Sanders. We're not talking about casual inquiries or what would it take conversations. These are structured, serious proposals from organizations that see exactly what Cleveland refuses to acknowledge. Sources close to the Browns front office reveal that these offers aren't coming from desperate teams looking for a project. They're coming from playoff contenders who did their homework and realized what many of us have been saying all along. Shedeur Sanders is ready to play at the highest level right now. One NFC playoff team allegedly offered 2 second-round picks, plus a starting caliber player. An AFC contender reportedly put 3 picks on the table, including a future first-rounder. Multiple teams have called within the last 2 weeks alone. Cleveland's response to every offer? Absolutely not. But that's not even the most shocking part. Insiders claim that Jimmy Haslam isn't rejecting these trades because he believes in Shedeur's future with Cleveland. He's rejecting them because Shedeur is worth more to him as a marketing asset than whatever picks or players he'd get in return. Word from people familiar with Haslam's thinking is that he's planning to sell the franchise within the next 2-3 years. And having Shedeur Sanders on the roster, even if he never plays, makes the team more valuable to potential buyers. It's business over football in the most disgusting way possible. The evidence is everywhere if you know where to look. Before Shedeur ever took a snap, Cleveland's season ticket sales exploded. Merchandise flew off the shelves. The energy around the franchise reached levels they hadn't seen in decades. And all of it happened because fans believed they finally had their franchise quarterback. Escalation and evidence, the insider revelations that change everything. But here's where the story takes a catastrophic turn. Sources within the Browns organization are now speaking out about what's really happening behind closed doors. And what they're revealing is absolutely devastating. One former Browns staffer, speaking on condition of anonymity, described the situation as the most calculated waste of talent they'd ever witnessed. According to this source, Shedeur has been ready to start since training camp began. His arm strength, decision-making, and leadership qualities are off the charts. But the coaching staff has been given explicit instructions to keep him on the bench. It's not about development, the source revealed. It's about controlling the narrative and maximizing his value as a marketing tool. If you're as outraged as we are about this situation, make sure to hit that hype button right now. This story is exploding across social media, and your support helps us bring these crucial revelations to light. The more people who see this, the more pressure we can put on Cleveland to do the right thing. Hype this video and let's make some noise. People familiar with the team's internal discussions say the plan has always been to milk Shedeur's name for maximum business benefit while giving him just enough playing time to avoid a complete revolt from fans. It's a cynical calculation that treats a human being like a commodity. The evidence keeps mounting. During the Browns versus Bengals game, cameras constantly panned to Shedeur on the sidelines. He was listed as inactive, but suited up and ready to play. The visual told the whole story, a franchise-changing quarterback watching from the bench while a 21-year veteran managed the game. Insiders say Shedeur was visibly frustrated during that game. Teammates have reportedly started questioning the coaching decisions. Even veteran players are wondering why their best quarterback isn't playing. The locker room tension is becoming impossible to ignore. Sources close to the situation reveal that other NFL teams are watching this unfold with a mixture of disgust and opportunity. They see a talented young quarterback being wasted, and they're positioning themselves to rescue him from this football purgatory. One AFC executive, speaking anonymously, called Cleveland's handling of Shedeur professional malpractice. Another described it as the most obvious mismanagement of talent they'd seen in decades. Broader implications? This isn't just about football anymore. The implications of this story extend far beyond one player or one team. What's happening to Shedeur Sanders represents a systemic problem in how the NFL treats young black quarterbacks who refuse to conform to outdated expectations. This isn't just about Cleveland's dysfunction. It's about an industry-wide pattern of controlling and limiting players who represent change. Shedeur Sanders embodies everything the old guard fears: confidence, talent, and independence wrapped up in one package. The draft manipulation shows how coordinated these efforts can be. Multiple franchises participated in keeping him away from winning situations. The goal was never to hurt his career. It was to control where he developed. Now they're trying to profit from their own sabotage. Sources within the league office are reportedly concerned about the optics of this situation. Having a generational talent waste away on the bench while lesser quarterbacks get opportunities doesn't just look bad. It raises serious questions about the league's commitment to merit-based competition. The cultural impact is already being felt. Social media is exploding with support for Shedeur and criticism of Cleveland's handling of the situation. Hashtags demanding his release are trending nationwide. Fan groups are organizing boycotts of Browns merchandise until he gets a fair opportunity. But the most devastating revelation is how this connects to broader patterns in the NFL. Multiple sources confirm that what happened to Shedeur isn't unique. Other young quarterbacks have faced similar coordinated efforts to limit their opportunities and control their development. This is bigger than one player, revealed a source familiar with league operations. This is about maintaining power structures that have existed for decades. The ripple effects are already spreading. Other teams are reportedly reevaluating their own draft strategies. Wondering if they've been manipulated in similar ways, agents are asking harder questions about where their clients end up, and players are starting to speak out about the system that controls their careers. Future stakes and what's coming next. Here's what should terrify Cleveland fans about where this is heading. If the Browns don't stop playing games and start playing Shedeur Sanders, another team is going to get him eventually. Whether it's through a trade this season or him leaving when his rookie contract expires, this young man isn't going to waste his prime years sitting on a bench. The trade rumors aren't going away because the interest isn't going away. NFL teams recognize generational talent, and they're not going to stop calling until either Cleveland comes to their senses or Shedeur finds his way to an organization that actually wants to win football games instead of just sell tickets. Multiple teams are monitoring the situation closely. Trade offers are expected to increase as the season progresses. Cleveland's asking price is reportedly astronomical, further proof they see him as a commodity. But eventually, something has to give. Sources close to Shedeur's camp hint that patience is running thin. While he's remained professional publicly, privately, there's growing frustration with how his career is being handled. The young quarterback didn't fight through every level of football just to become a marketing tool for a franchise too scared to let him play. When Shedeur Sanders finally gets his chance to shine, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, everyone's going to see what many of us have been saying all along. This is a special talent, a franchise-changing player, a quarterback who can take a team to the next level. The only question is whether Cleveland will be smart enough to be that team, or if they'll spend the next decade wondering what could have been. Because mark my words, Shedeur Sanders will be a star in this league. The only question is what uniform he'll be wearing when it happens.